Hey people, it's Friday. It's the end of the second full week of January. So it is, I've got to make sure it's the 15th, yeah. And just want to just come back and sort of do a wrap up of this week. You know, this has been a very surreal, strange week. You know, the passing of David Bowie, and then the actor, the guy who was in Harry Potter, which I've never seen. I just, no interest, you know. Other people, you know, Otis Clay, soul singer, died. Not just death, but here in Omaha, we lost a treasure of a place, M's Pub down in the market, the whole building, you know. Probably due to not-headed negligence. There'll be a big fight, big legal fight, but there was a huge explosion. Probably some, and I will use slang. Some idiots probably working on installing fiber optics. Subcontracted company, most likely. Whoever they could get to do the job for the cheapest, and they blundered. It'll be a big fight in the courts. Nobody wants to be responsible these days. But the loss of M's Pub, along with the Bowie and some other small things, it's just really been heavily on my mind, and it's just been a huge part of my week. You know, still absorbing the magnitude of what an artist, and notice I'm making it more general, just really reflecting on the magnitude of what art does for life and what kind of an impact an artist can have on life. And just as each day passes, the magnitude of what Bowie, what he represented, even beyond himself as an artist, to the world, opening the door for outsiders, gays, people that are different. The man, the world needed David Bowie, and to me it's a tremendous loss. You know, he can't be replaced. You know, how could it? You know, so much of the, what I call the innocence of discovery, is just gone now. As quick as something comes along now, the first thing that happens to it is that it is monetized, and that it is commercialized, and that it is hashtagged. You know, it's like it's made immediately like a product. So I've been watching quite a bit of Bowie stuff on YouTube this week, and he was well aware of it. And a lot of times in interviews, he would speak on it, and it would go completely over the interviewers' heads, where he's commenting on, oh, okay, here I am responding to your soundbite caricature of me, the chameleon, the man with 1,000 faces, you know. And that wasn't him, but he was stuck into a trick bag. And in my opinion, unfortunately, almost all of life now has been reduced to that. The soundbite, the hashtag, you know, the meme. And most people's attention span and seat of knowledge, in my opinion, is so short, or whatever you want to call it, that they don't see it. We're just living in it. So that's been on my mind. The other thing I wanted to share, I may talk about music, I may not, you know me. I wanted to get back on here and follow up on my thoughts about President Obama's last State of the Union address, and then coming to Omaha. Because as it turns out, the day of him speaking, I was offered from two different sources a ticket to go. People actually really wanting me to go. I didn't want to go. But I want to clarify, because I get the feedback that some people don't understand. I don't hate President Barack Obama. Personally, I've said things about him in the past out of anger, not towards him personally, but the game of politics. I don't know how genuine Barack Obama is. I just know that Politics absolutely stinks to the core. And playing the game, you can't be clean. Obama may indeed be one of the greatest presidents that we've ever had. I don't know. I ain't saying that. A lot of people are saying it. But the thing that continually dismays me is how people are easily made googly-eyed and thrown back into fantasy just by hearing a guy who looks good speak good. You know, democracy is in tatters. The economy, they play with the numbers to keep saying things are better, but things are just in ruin, and yet people are happy with an illusion. The one that, the president speaks well and he looks good and it's the president, and so we just, you had a moment of glory that you were close to a president and that makes everything all right. Well, I understand that, but I also keep looking at the bigger picture, which is, here we go, same old shit. He gets his moments of glory. Everybody gets pie-eyed and is placated, and the shit just keeps going on. The game just keeps going on. Things keep falling apart and deteriorating, but we buy into the fantasy. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm ever saying, is I just get tired of that, and I can't stand it when people try to come at me mad because I'm just calling it like I see it, but they want me to play along. Just go along, just go along. No, I ain't going along. But I want you to understand, it's not personal. I don't hate the president. I hate the game. I had to write about it on Facebook a couple times. So, for example, here in Nebraska, racist-ass fucking Nebraska, our governor at first wasn't going to go to meet the president. The governor isn't going to take time out of his schedule to meet the president. And there was all sorts of talk about it in social media. To me, even though I can't prove it, but due to the life that I've been living here in Nebraska as a black man, the message was clear from Pete Ricketts and racist Nebraska. Well, he's not a real president. He's just a nigger. Fuck, I ain't going to go see that nigger. There was enough blowback that he finally broke down and changed his schedule and did it. But I had to write and explain to people with their small minds think that I'm hating on Pete Ricketts. I'm not hating on Pete Ricketts. He's my brother as a human. I'm hating on his small-minded, pickaninny, hillbilly mentality. Human beings aren't the problem. Human beings' brains and the bullshit and crazy-ass shit that we are willing to believe and think is the problem. It's like, make an analogy. You get a computer. It only has so much hardware. You got to download software and programs to make it run. We're the same way. We're born with a certain amount of information, and then we're taught. We're downloaded. We're programmed. We're formatted. And a lot of people's programming and formatting just sucks. Anti-human, selfish, materialistic, hateful. We got a whole lot of programming like that going around in the world, and that's what I see. It's not so much that human beings are a problem, it's what we feed ourselves, what we believe that makes us act in the most dastardly, shitty ways. So I just wanted to get on and just riff on that. Even no matter how much I say what I say, people will still hear what they're thinking as opposed to what I'm saying. And with that, I want to say a lot of times what goes on when people come here and want to say, well, I got, here's some thoughts for you, as though I'm not thinking for myself. A lot of times when I read their comments, it's like, you don't get what I said at all. This isn't what I'm thinking. This is what you're thinking. So I don't even need this blowback because that's not where I'm coming from. That's what you're thinking. So that's what's on my mind, Maybe next time I get in here, I'll talk about music. I'll say this much. I have a show tonight with the band Agronomo. I don't play covers, but I'm dedicating my performance tonight to David Bowie because of how much he's influenced me, inspired me, and how I have to just admit, I will show one record, okay? I got a story with it. And how much his trajectory of his career has had an effect on my life. It's had a a much bigger effect on my life than I have wanted to admit at different times. He's a hero to me. Yeah, he is. The very first David Bowie record I ever had in my collection was this various artist sampler from Mercury Records called the Zigzag Festival. Now this copy is a replacement copy for the one I bought when I was 15 years old. But I remember still, I can actually recall the memory of buying it because I'm not sure, I was working. I had a job by then. But, I had to help the family, so I didn't have much money. So any record that I bought was a big decision. And there were several records I wanted, but the reason why I bought this one was because it was a label sampler. As a result, it was at a reduced price. And it was a double album. So I was going to get all this music. And I was familiar with, of course, the big names on here, like Rod Stewart and stuff. But I was already familiar with the Fort Mudge Memorial Dump and QB and the Blizzards, and they have songs on here. And so that was part of the thing that I was going for. I don't think I really knew, I guess I did, I probably knew about Space Oddity from the radio, which is the song on here. But this is the very first record with David Bowie on it that I have ever owned, have ever owned. And less than 2 years ago, I found this replacement copy because my copy, the one from my childhood, God only knows what I did with it, what happened to it. Okay. Last thing I'll say, and it is Bowie related, I have played the absolute stinking hell out of this. And this is just hauntingly deep and amazing. Black Star. Wow. Well, they're sitting here. I'm going to wrap it up. You all like it when I talk about music. When the Wind Blows, a very, very sad animated film. But the soundtrack, the title track, is by David Bowie, written for this. So I dug this out and put this over in my Bowie section now. And I listened to these as well with Bowie in my mind. Tin Machine, Under the God. Yeah. Time to reassess that stuff, people. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, the film soundtrack by Ryuichi Sakamoto, but also starring David Bowie and Sakamoto. Fantastic soundtrack. And another great Bowie album that got panned by the critics because they're always... Anyway, Earthling, Bowie. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So the last thing I'll say once again is very likely when you hear my words and you have a problem with them or you're upset and you think I'm saying something stupid or... I'm not. I mean well. I'm going to just say that. Whether or not you agree with me, I mean well. My intentions are positive. I ain't trying to start no shit or, you know what I'm saying? So don't put it on me. Don't put that on me. I'm trying to be decent, you know what I'm saying? And this world is such a scummy, filthy fucking place. It can be really hard to do that. But we need to keep trying.